Hello and good afternoon and welcome to SWIM, SWYM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm out and about. I was at one of my favorite locations and I tried to do this live and the audio just didn't work out. So I came to a different location and here I am. A couple things I want to talk about. I call this a check-in. I have my bedside Baptist. I have my wonderful Wednesday, Feel Good Friday. Just like any content creator, we like to find a way to introduce whatever it is we're doing. And I just simply call this SWIM, SWYM. That is the acronym for Say What You Mean. It's very important that we do that. With that being said, I do have a message I want to share as a therapy session for myself. But before I do, I've been thinking about my mother lately. And I had a couple of dreams, actually 2 dreams back to back, that how you have a dream and then it means something, but you're not sure what it means, so you just kind of wait for whatever that message is. Well, I'm kind of waiting on that because I know that that message came and that dream came at a time where I need to start paying attention. With that being said, before I get into my point, I want to talk about something that reminds me of my mother. She used to talk about deliverance, and I did a song, of course, in her honor. Leandria did this song. Gosh, I can't remember her name now. I'll put the song in my description. But one of my inspirational tunes is called "Deliver Me," and the words to that song is like, "Lord, deliver me, because all I seem to do is hurt me." But I was reflecting on what my mother used to say about being delivered, and she would say something in reference to being in the jaws of an alligator. And if you know anything about my past, we grew up where things were pretty tough. We had to overcome quite a few challenges and obstacles. And my mother, being the praying mother she was, she would always pray and believe and have faith that God would deliver us from some of those challenges we faced. And sure enough, we got through, because here I am. Well, with that being said, she would talk about when you're in a situation and you finally learn the lesson and you get delivered from whatever that situation is for whatever reason. And that situation could be a job, it could be a relationship, could be a location, a situation maybe you probably shouldn't be in, could be an addiction, alcohol or drugs or whatnot. Because when we need deliverance, it really doesn't matter what we're being delivered from when we need to be set free from a situation. But back to her point, she would talk about once you get delivered, alligators have a very strong reputation for clamping down on something and not letting go. And I guess that's the reason she would use that example, because she knows it's difficult to get out of the jaws of an alligator. And she would say, once the Lord delivers you from the jaws of an alligator, don't go back. And I would think to myself, why would anybody want to go back? The other question is, why would you even be fooling around with an alligator anyway? Well, sometimes we find ourselves, due to distractions or fleshly desires, in places maybe we shouldn't be in as a result of wanting to do things our way, especially when we know better. With that being said, when you're delivered from a situation that only God can deliver you from, it's very difficult to not want to go back, because sometimes when we get delivered, let's just say from alcohol, we say, well, I can have one drink or I can have one toke or whatever. You don't get delivered to get better at being in the dangerous situation. You get delivered so that you can learn the lesson to not necessarily be a part of dangerous situations anyway. With that being said, I'll just say to you, as I'm reflecting in honor of my mother, when the Lord delivers you from the jaws of an alligator, don't go back. Okay? Also, with that being said, I had an experience today. I'll share this before I get into my main message. I'm going to be out of here in 10 minutes. So I lost the gasket for my espresso maker. I didn't lose it. Actually, it just wore out and I needed to replace it. So I went to this place to replace it and they didn't have it. They had every one except the one I needed. And I asked the person, I said, well, where can I get one? And they were like, I don't think it exists. And in my mind, I'm thinking, there's no way. This is a popular espresso maker, and I've replaced it before, and it's just time. So I thought to myself, okay, well, if it doesn't exist, maybe I'll have to buy another espresso espresso maker. And I thought, no, just because this person didn't know and I don't know how to locate it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. When we don't know how to access something, that means we have to do some research, and we have to think a little harder and work a little harder, sometimes to get what it is we are searching for. Because just because it may seem like a door is closed, it's not closed. We just don't know how to open it. So with that being said, I'm gonna find my espresso gasket. You know why? Because I want it and I need it. And it's worth the effort of discovering something that seems, unobtainable, that, I'm gonna figure out how to get it done. Okay, enough of that. To my point, I said something on a podcast a couple of days ago about, liking being right. And I don't want to take that out of context, and I don't want anyone else to take that out of context. When I say I don't like being proven wrong, doesn't mean I insist on being right. It's just that 9 times out of 9, whenever I say something, I've done my research. I know what I'm talking about, and I have proof, facts, evidence, and information to actually back it up, not only logically, but even realistically. And I'm open to having that type of conversation with anything I'm trying to prove or convey. And the flip side of that has to do with my ability to listen. Although I don't like being proven wrong, it's the only time I can learn. So when I get the opportunity to communicate and someone can show me something from a different angle, that's when I really get excited. And with that being said, I want to make my point. Just because I like making points or allowing evidence to prove itself doesn't mean I have to be right. But when the opportunity comes for somebody to point something out to me, I really get excited about learning. And I don't think I'm just so right that I can't be shown something different. And I always invite that. And I would encourage you the same. If you think, feel, and believe something, and you have a strong, feeling or belief about it, don't let that be the last. If someone has something to say to you, just like in the podcast, the word was, hear me out. When someone wants to talk or needs to talk, or you're not at peace with, any kind of situation, you need to discover how to get past it. Because God is not the author of confusion. And if you're confused or your spirit is vexed about something, that means you need to revisit it with an open mind. Don't be so closed-minded and stubborn that just because you feel strong about something, or you believe something, or you think something, is so right, that you can't learn a thing or two. So with that being said, I'm the first one who enjoys allowing evidence, information, facts, and proof to speak for itself. And I'll just say, okay, I agree with that. I don't even like saying I'm right. But when I have the opportunity, again, to be shown something different, I am open to that. And I encourage you to do the same. Hope you got something out of that. I certainly did. This is Therapy for Me. Thank you for joining me. This is Swim, SWYM. I am Travis Bridges. And I will encourage you to find someone you need to say I love you to. Don't just say it, show it, mean it, let it be true. And remember, not all love is accepted. People will take your best and treat it like trash, and then wonder why, things don't necessarily work out for them. With that being said, just because a situation, a circumstance, or a person doesn't work out, don't let that change you. Continue to be loving, kind, respectful, considerate, transparent, and just continue to be a good person, regardless of, the circumstances, because every situation is designed to teach us something. Once we learn the lesson, exercise it and allow wisdom to cause you to be wise. With that being said, take good care of yourself. I really appreciate you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you when I catch you. Ciao.